Hi, I'm Israel Jebasingh. UK Deputy Prime Minister Ms. Angela Rayner has resigned. She was a promising star of the Labour Party. She has resigned as a Deputy Prime Minister, also as Deputy Leader of Labour Party. She was tipped to be the successor of Sir Keir Starmer, who is the current Prime Minister. At a very young age of 45 years, she rose to such high positions. However, it is reported that she is caught in a tax scandal. She failed to pay taxes. Taking moral responsibility, she has resigned. Now, what is that scandal about? Is it a scandal at all at times? From Indian point of view, if we see, it would look like a scandal. Then why UK is having such high ethical standards? Let us analyze all these points in this video. Ms. Angela Rayner was born and brought up in a very, very poor family. She suffered due to extreme poverty and all. Even that family couldn't afford hot water because it was costly. So to take bath, she had to go to a grandmother's house twice a week so that she can have a proper bath. At a very young age of 16, she got married, she became pregnant, she left the formal school, started working. As a part-time, she continued education, and her early life was suffering. She didn't have roofs to stay, and food itself was so difficult for them to have 3 meals a day. Finally, she landed as a union worker, became a union leader, part of Labour Party in UK, and she rose the ranks. And finally, when Labour Party swept the elections last year, she became the Deputy Prime Minister, Deputy Leader of Labour Party. All were thinking she is going to replace Keir Starmer as Prime Minister in future. In this scenario, she is caught in a tax scandal. Now, what is this tax scandal all about? She bought a flat. Whether it is in UK or India or any other country, if someone buys a property, we have to pay the stamp duty. It is a tax to the government. Now, according to UK law, if someone buys their first property, then they have to pay around 30,000 pound because the flat worth was around 8 lakh pound. So, equivalent of Indian rupee is approximately 9 crores. Now, she bought that flat. Now, as per UK law, if it is your first property, then you have to pay 30,000 pounds. If it is your second property, then you have to pay 70,000 pounds as the stamp duty. Now, she claimed that it was her first property. Already she had a house in her name. However, she gave it to her son, who is a disabled child. When she got separated from her husband in 2023, both herself and her husband set up a trust. Now, the trust is for her son. So, they donated it to the trust. Now, according to her, I have donated it. I am no longer the owner. So, this is my first property. Now, she says, I have consulted 3 tax consultants and they gave me the advice that no, this is your first property only because you have given it to a trust which is in her son's name. So, she paid only 30,000 pounds. However, newspapers started writing, especially the right-wing newspapers started criticizing her how she can avoid paying tax of another 40,000 pounds because anyhow it is her son's property and the son is not yet 18 years old. The son's age now is 17 years old. So, as per UK law, then the parents are actually the owners till their son becomes 18 years. So, if that is the case, this particular flat which she has bought is her second property, then she should have paid 70,000 pounds instead of 30,000 pounds. So, it is a tax scandal. That is what newspapers started claiming. Recently, Mr. Keir Starmer, the Prime Minister of UK, asked his ethics advisor to advise on this issue. All these days, Ms. Angela Rayner, who was the Deputy Prime Minister, was defending her position, telling clearly that this is my first property only because 2023 I given it to my son. It is a separate trust and I am no longer the owner. So this is my first property. I got advice from 3 tax consultants. They also advised the same, that this is the first property. That is the reason I paid only 30,000 pounds. So finally, the ethics advisor told the Prime Minister that yes, Miss Angela Rayner didn't do anything wrong. Ethically, she was right only. Her integrity is perfect, no problem. However, from the ministerial standard point of view, she shouldn't have done this. So once this report came out, immediately Miss Angela Rayner resigned as a deputy prime minister and also as the deputy leader of the Labour Party. Now, if you see it from Indian standards, it will be shocking because after all, she paid her stamp duty on the advice of 3 tax consultants. She didn't hide. She gave it to her son, which is a separate trust also, and the child is also physically challenged child. Despite this, she had to step down because ethical standards for public servants is very high in UK. This particular incident reminded me of one incident which happened in India in 1950s. In 1950s, Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru was the first prime minister. In parliament, his son-in-law suddenly rose up. He was in opposition camps, Mr. Feroz Gandhi. In question hour of parliament, he questioned his father-in-law, Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, accusing the government of investing LIC money in one fraudulent company called Mundra Company based out of Kolkata. Now, Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru didn't know. He looked at the finance minister. The finance minister was a very honest person, Mr. T.T. Krishnamachari. Now, he rose up and told, no, we didn't do like that. Nothing of that sort. So, later, once the session got over, it was found that no, the finance ministry has invested LIC money in Mundra without the knowledge of the finance minister. So Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru appointed one commission for inquiring on this particular issue. That was called as Chagla Commission. The Chagla Commission inquired and finally ruled that Mr. T.T. Krishnamachari was innocent. He didn't know. The bureaucrats in finance ministry, without his knowledge, invested LIC money in that Mundra company. So it was not the fault of Mr. T.T. Krishnamachari. However, there is a doctrine of ministerial responsibility. So the minister should take responsibility. So that way, Mr. T.T. Krishnamachari has done a mistake. Now, Mr. T.T. Krishnamachari had to step down as a finance minister. It was a promising career for him, but after that, his political career came to an end just because of his bureaucrats investing LIC money without his knowledge. Now, such were the standards of public life in our country also during initial days after the freedom struggle. However, things have deteriorated in the standards of public life over a period of time. Every day in newspaper, we see this corruption case, that corruption case, this scandal, that particular scandal. So, when we look at this UK issue of Miss Angela Rayner stepping down as Deputy Prime Minister, time has come for us also to think how to restore the standards in public life in our country also. So, I feel time has come so that we also should become like UK. This is my view. According to you, what are the standards should be for public servants? Please post it in the comments. I'll also see. If you have some doubts in this video, please post it in the comments. I'll try to clarify. Thank you from Israel Jebasingh.